It's game night, but none of those other yahoos showed up. Now, you're stuck with a veggie platter, a pack of Corona, and a life-size cardboard cutout of Matt Mercer. But you're not going to let that stop you from having a good time, are you? No, you're not. You're going to handle this like every other aspect of your life where you lack a partner. You're going to take matters into your own hands. By picking up one of these solo RPGs, that is. First up, we've got Thousand-Year-Old Vampire. If you've ever thought, what would it be like to drink blood and be sad for all of eternity, then this one's for you. Now, if you haven't heard of this gem, then you're probably not on the vampire enthusiast mailing list, and I have to question your life choices. But fear not, my mortal companions. I'm here to enlighten you. Thousand-Year-Old Vampire is a journaling game where you take on the role of a newly made vampire. It's like having your own personal Twilight experience without the sparkling skin and questionable romance. Instead, you get to navigate your way through randomly determined encounters, building an epic tale of darkness and woe. But here's the kicker. Your vampire's memory is limited, like a TI-86 calculator that's still $100 for some freaking reason. When their memory fills up, you have to make some tough choices. Do you remember your first love or that epic battle with a werewolf? How do those experiences and those losses change them over time? For example, how does a once medieval Catholic priest deal with becoming an unholy abomination? That's quite the career change. What's it like being a vampire during the Industrial Revolution? Does all that coal dust make their food taste weird? How do things change when they forget about their mortal life entirely? Do they still demand the senior citizen discount? Over the course of the game, hundreds of years, maybe 1,000, will pass. At some point though, time runs out even for immortals. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Alright, maybe it is, but in a good way, I promise. It's like a gothic novel on steroids with enough melancholy to make Edgar Allan Poe go, dude, lighten up. You can pick up your copy of Thousand-Year-Old Vampire over at thousandyearoldvampire.com. Here's the second and last journaling RPG on our list. Grab yourself a pencil, a paper, and a deck of cards and prepare to journey outside? Inside? I'm not entirely sure, but maybe you'll figure it out. I was drawn to Colossal at first by its cover art. I'm a sucker for a sense of scale, and a large mountain-sized skull is really intriguing and might be part of why I like the Owl House so much. What sets this game apart is its setting. Everything takes place inside a colossal castle. Get it? Colossal? The rooms of this castle are so large that they contain forests, mountains, and oceans. It's the natural progression of the open concept floor plan. In the center of the kitchen is a lovely island surrounded by a sparkling lake, and over here we have a shiplap accent wall. Ostensibly, the castle stretches on forever, with every door and window leading to yet another room and land to explore. In addition to this cool setting, Colossal is a game that proves you don't need a menagerie of fantasy races to have an epic adventure. There's no elves or dwarves here, just humans. Humans in the castle-shaped rooks that stalk the wilderness, that is. You see, rooks are the primary antagonist of Colossal. They're castle-shaped magical automatons. Imagine being chased by a literal walking castle with big bladed arms. On the rare occasion humans can bring one down, their bits and pieces are used to create all the magic, weapons, and technology inside of Colossal. Honey, the fridge is broken again. Alright, I'll get my shotgun. The focus on humans versus rooks is refreshing, I think. A lot of games try to include the fantasy kitchen sink, as it were, and end up with a generic mess of Tolkien knockoffs. But Colossal keeps it pure in its simplicity, much to the game's benefit. Now, Colossal was published back in 2021 by Nick Angel, but he isn't done yet. Nick's got a thriving Patreon page where subscribers get access to regular content updates and additions that can be wrapped into their ongoing games. You can pick up your copy of Colossal over at Colossal.com. Don't like journaling? Alright, let's grab our graph paper and make some maps. In Delve, you're the overseer of a dwarven expedition. Your job is to delve down into the ground and create a dwarven hold. You'll build rooms and explore caverns that you discover and collect the treasure that you find. You'll trade and craft and build your resources to delve even further down into the earth in search of the Void Crystal. It's like Minecraft meets Lord of the Rings, minus the creepers and 10-year-olds bragging about their night with my mom. In Rise, on the other hand, you take on the role of the Dungeon Keeper. Who didn't love that game back in the day? You're the mastermind behind an underground lair filled with traps, secret passages, and an army ready to conquer the surface world. It's a lot like Delve, except instead of digging down, you're digging up. Both Delve and Rise let you create intricate maps filled with gas-filled caverns, lava lakes, ancient ruins, and nightmarish horrors. And if you run out of graph paper, just remember that napkins and the back of old receipts can also double as maps. Resourcefulness is key. Both of these games were created by the same mastermind, Anna Blackwell. Delve and Rise are the yin and yang of underground exploration, offering you the chance to satisfy both your architect and conqueror cravings. You can get a copy of both of these games over at blackwellwriter.com. Unlike other games on this list, the Wolves of Langston isn't its own system. Rather, it's a standalone adventure for D&D 5th edition. Despite the game it's based on, you don't need dungeons, you don't need dragons, and you sure as hell don't need a dungeon master to have fun here. The Wolves of Langston offers you the chance to channel your inner Sherlock Holmes and put your investigative skills to the test in a choose-your-own-adventure style of solo play. You start by arriving in the town of Langston, where there's been a gruesome murder, and in true adventuring fashion, it becomes your job to figure out what's going on because, well, you're expendable. That's not a punchline, that's actually a reason given in the adventure. So, buckle up and get ready to become Langston's one and only underpaid investigator. With about 100 pages of prompts, a colorful cast of characters, and diverging paths, The Wolves of Langston is a really fun way to spend a handful of hours without having to learn an entirely new system. Assuming you know how to play D&D, of course. Because it's just an adventure and not a standalone game system, The Wolves of Langston has the issue of limited replayability. You can go back through and make different choices and explore different paths, but unless you're the guy from Memento, there's only so much you can get out of this at one adventure. That being said, it's absolutely worth your time, and you can get a copy of The Wolves of Langston over at obviousmimic.com. If you like D&D adventures, I've got something for you. Pretty much every month, we here at Lunch Break Heroes publish an original adventure for D&D 5th edition that you can enjoy with your own gaming group, when they show up, that is. We've got adventures from level 0 to level 12, covering everything from zombie apocalypses to vengeful ghosts to cannibalistic nobles and demons and more. Every adventure is professionally typeset into beautiful digital PDF format with full-color illustrations and maps from the illustrious DM Andy himself. And if you love battle maps and don't know Andy, do yourself a favor and check out his Patreon too. You can get access to our entire back catalog of adventures and module guides for just as little as $1. It's the steal of the century, and over 1,700 other patrons can't possibly be wrong. So hop on over to patreon.com/lunchbreakheroes and check it out today. Get ready to don your black fur cloak, scowl at innocent villagers, and embark on a perilous journey to fulfill your iron vows. If you've been living under a rock since 2018, you might have missed the epic rise of Ironsworn, the role-playing game that's as cheery as a rainy funeral. It's like the creator decided to take every fantasy trope and give it a hearty slap across the face. Ironsworn is different from our last couple of games because it isn't a journaling or mapping game. It's more akin to a traditional tabletop RPG with its own stats, combat, and progression system. You can play it in a group or by yourself with the help of rollable tables called oracles. Ironsworn is a powered by the apocalypse style system. Unlike games like D&D or Pathfinder, almost everything that you do in Ironsworn is a move, and every move has a good or a bad consequence depending upon your dice roll. Delving into a haunted forest? A few friendly ghosts with their own quests, not so bad. Walking to the next village over? Screw you, you're getting waylaid by a group of bandits that want your skin. The game is set within the Iron Lands, Ironsworn's brooding playground. Here, the fantasy's as dark as a hipster's coffee, magic is about as rare as a unicorn riding a skateboard, and danger lurks around every nook and cranny. I really want to run my next home game in this Ironsworn system, so hopefully my players who are watching this are on board with that. You can pick up your copy at ironswornrpg.com. Since my last solo RPG video in 2020, the world has changed. We've gotten rid of our surgical masks, emptied our wallets to outrageous inflation, and now we pave the way for our new AI overlords, or at the very least our new AI game masters. Here we have our honorable mention, ChatGPT. In addition to helping you plagiarize your homework, ChatGPT is a pretty decent game master. Why bother with unpredictable flesh and blood individuals who can't be bothered to show up for a game when you can have an AI dictate your gaming session? The human touch is overrated. Like most tasks that you can set an AI to, you need to give it clear instructions, up front of what you want it to do, what kind of game you want it to run, and how you want it to behave. From there, it does a pretty decent job of running the game. I've had a medieval fantasy game going for a little while that's managed to keep my attention fairly well. Now, I must admit that using ChatGPT as your game master does come with its little quirks. For example, will it remember your character's backstory? Will it keep the game consistent? Well, it's part of the thrill, you never know. And honestly, you could ask those same questions of a human game master. So head on over to chat.openai.com and let ChatGPT take the reins of your gaming sessions. And while you're there, let it take the reins of everything else in your life because let's face it, that's what's gonna happen anyways. So folks, in a world where your game night turns into a solo affair, fear not. Kick back, unzip your creative potential, and grab hold of one of these games. And remember kids, there's no shame in playing with yourself. By yourself, not with yourself. This isn't that kind of video.